For 15 years, Claire Bennett raised her husband's son, Michael, as her own. Through tantrums, homework struggles, heartbreaks, and triumphs, she was there for everything. So when Michael got engaged, Claire waited eagerly for her invitation to the wedding, excited to see the boy she'd raised become a man. But when she called to ask about the date, her new daughter-in-law Lauren simply said, "You missed it." No invitation, no explanation, no apology, just 3 cold words. Devastated and confused, Claire struggled to understand why she'd been excluded from one of the most important days of Michael's life. But as the truth slowly unraveled, she discovered that her absence from the wedding was only the beginning of a painful revelation, one involving family secrets, buried resentments, and a shocking twist that would change their relationship forever. Set in Portland, Oregon, this is a story about the complicated bonds of blended families, forgiveness, and finding your worth when those you love make you invisible. After raising her stepson for 15 years, Claire was heartbroken when she wasn't invited to his wedding. When she called to ask why, her new daughter-in-law simply said, "You missed it." What seemed like cruel rejection turned into a journey of painful truths, family secrets, and an unexpected revelation that changed everything. A powerful story about blended families, sacrifice, and learning when to walk away and when to stay. Set in Portland, Oregon. Family drama. Claire Bennett stood at her kitchen window in Portland, watching the November rain slide down the glass. The Douglas firs in her backyard swayed in the wind, their branches heavy with water. She held her phone in one hand and a now cold cup of coffee in the other, trying to work up the courage to make the call. It had been 3 weeks since Michael's engagement party, a small gathering at his apartment where he'd introduced everyone to Lauren, his fiancée. Claire had been there, of course, bringing her famous lemon bars and a bottle of champagne. She'd hugged Michael tightly, told Lauren how happy she was to meet her, and waited to hear about wedding plans. But no call had come, no texts about dress shopping or venue tours, nothing. Claire had raised Michael since he was 6 years old. His biological mother, Diane, had left when Michael was a toddler, simply walked out one day and never came back. Claire had married Michael's father, Robert, when Michael was 5, and from that first day, she'd loved the boy as her own. She'd packed his lunches, attended every parent-teacher conference, sat through countless soccer games, helped him with college applications, held him when his first girlfriend broke his heart. She was his mother in every way that mattered except biology. So why hadn't Lauren called about the wedding? Claire set down her coffee and dialed Michael's number. It rang 4 times before going to voicemail. She tried again. Same result. Finally, she texted, "Hi, honey. Just checking in about the wedding. Want to know the date so I can request time off work. Love you." An hour passed, then 2. Finally, her phone buzzed. But it wasn't Michael. It was a number she didn't recognize. "Hello? Mrs. Bennett? This is Lauren, Michael's fiancée." The voice was cool, professional, like she was calling about a business matter. "Oh, Lauren, hi. I was just trying to reach Michael about the wedding. I'm so excited to help with planning if you need anything, and I wanted to make sure I have the date on my calendar." "You missed it." Claire stopped mid-sentence. "I'm sorry. What?" "The wedding. You missed it. We got married last weekend. It was a small ceremony. Family only." The words hit Claire like a physical blow. She actually stumbled backward, catching herself on the kitchen counter. "Last weekend, but there was no invitation. No one told me. Like I said, it was family only. Small. Intimate. We kept the guest list very limited." "But I'm family," Claire said, her voice barely a whisper. "I'm Michael's." "You're his stepmother," Lauren interrupted, and there was something sharp in her tone now. "His biological mother couldn't be there either, obviously. We just wanted immediate family. I'm sure you understand." Claire's legs gave out. She slid down to sit on her kitchen floor, phone still pressed to her ear. 15 years. 15 years of being Michael's mother, and she'd been excluded from his wedding, equated with the woman who'd abandoned him. Can I talk to Michael?" Claire managed. "He's at work, but he knows I'm calling. He agreed this was best, keeping things simple, avoiding any awkwardness. Anyway, I should go. I just wanted to let you know so you'd stop calling." The line went dead. Claire sat on her kitchen floor for what might have been minutes or hours. She couldn't tell. The rain continued its steady drumming against the windows. Her phone buzzed with a text from her husband, Robert, who was on a business trip in Seattle. "How's your day going?" How could she answer that? How could she tell him that his son, the boy they'd raised together for 15 years, had gotten married without inviting her? Claire's phone buzzed again. This time it was a notification from Facebook. Someone had tagged her in a post. With shaking hands, she opened it. Wedding photos, dozens of them. Michael in a sharp navy suit, Lauren in a beautiful ivory dress. They were at the Columbia River Gorge, the waterfall providing a stunning backdrop. The photos were professional, clearly from a photographer, not a quick courthouse ceremony. Claire scrolled through the images, each one a knife to her heart. There was Robert, Michael's father, standing proudly beside his son. There were Robert's parents, Michael's grandparents, smiling in the front row. There were Lauren's parents, her siblings, her friends. And there, in one photo that made Claire's breath catch, was a woman she'd only seen in old photographs. Diane, Michael's biological mother. The woman who'd abandoned him 23 years ago was there, smiling, her arm around Michael. They'd invited the mother who'd left, but not the mother who'd stayed. Claire's hands shook so badly she nearly dropped her phone. She called Robert immediately. "Claire? What's wrong? Did you know?" Her voice was raw. "Did you know about the wedding?" Silence on the other end. Then quietly, "Yes. And you didn't tell me?" "Michael asked me not to. He said it would be easier this way. Less complicated." "Less complicated?" Claire was shouting now, something she rarely did. "I raised him, Robert. I was there for every skinned knee, every nightmare, every milestone. And you let them exclude me? You were there and you didn't say anything? What was I supposed to do?" Robert's voice was defensive now. "He's my son. He asked me to respect his wishes. He said he wanted to reconnect with Diane, that she'd been reaching out, trying to make amends. He wanted her there, and he thought having both mothers would be awkward. So he chose the one who left over the one who stayed. Claire, it's not that simple. It's exactly that simple." Claire was crying now, angry tears streaming down her face. "When is your flight home?" "Tomorrow afternoon." "But Claire, we need to talk about this." She hung up. She couldn't hear any more justifications, any more excuses for why she'd been erased from one of the most important days in Michael's life. Aitaskioida that night, Claire pulled out the photo album she'd carefully maintained over the years. Michael's first day of first grade, Claire had taken that photo. Michael's 8th birthday party, Claire had organized everything, baked the cake, invited his friends. Michael's high school graduation, Claire was in those photos, beaming with pride. She found the card Michael had given her on Mother's Day 3 years ago. Inside, in his handwriting, "To the best mom I could have asked for. Thank you for always being there, I love you." Had he meant it? Or had it just been words? Something you're supposed to say to the woman who raised you? Claire's phone buzzed. A text from her sister Angela, who'd also seen the Facebook photos. "What the hell, did you know about this?" Claire typed back. "Just found out. They didn't invite me." Her phone immediately rang. "They what?" Angela's voice was incredulous. "Claire, I'm coming over right now. Don't you dare tell me you're fine." 30 minutes later, Angela arrived with wine and tissues, prepared for crisis management. She took one look at Claire's face and pulled her into a fierce hug. "Tell me everything." Claire did. Everything poured out. The phone call with Lauren, the cold dismissal, the Facebook photos, the fact that Robert had known and hadn't told her, the presence of Diane at the wedding. That ungrateful little... Angela stopped herself. "No, I'm not going to badmouth him because that won't help. But Claire, this is unacceptable. You've given 15 years of your life to that boy. Maybe that's the problem," Claire said quietly. "Maybe I was never really his mother. Maybe I was just convenient. Someone to do the work until his real mother decided to come back. Don't say that. Don't you dare diminish what you've done. You showed up every single day. That makes you more his mother than Diane ever was." But Angela's words, though kind, couldn't erase the hurt. That night, lying in bed alone, Robert was still in Seattle. Claire made a decision. She couldn't keep doing this. She couldn't keep giving her heart to people who saw her as optional, as easily discarded. She'd been invisible at Michael's wedding. Maybe it was time to become invisible in other ways, too. Chapter 2. The Silence. When Robert came home the next day, Claire was waiting. She'd spent the entire night thinking, crying, and ultimately hardening something in her heart that had always been soft where Michael was concerned. "Claire," Robert started as he walked through the door. "I need you to understand something." Claire interrupted, her voice calmer than she felt. I'm done. I'm done trying to be Michael's mother when he's made it clear I'm not wanted in that role." "You don't mean that." "I absolutely mean it. For 15 years I've put Michael first. I've sacrificed, compromised, loved him unconditionally, and apparently that meant nothing. So I'm done. I won't reach out. I won't call. I won't send birthday cards or Christmas gifts. If he wants a relationship with me, he can initiate it. but I'm not going to keep begging for scraps of affection from someone who excluded me from his wedding. Robert looked stricken. He's just confused right now. Diane's been manipulating him, filling his head with stories about how she had to leave for her mental health, how she's been trying to reconnect. He's dealing with complicated feelings. And I'm dealing with mine, Claire said firmly. I don't care what Diane told him. I don't care about his confused feelings. I care that when it came time to celebrate one of the biggest moments of his life, he looked at the woman who raised him and decided I wasn't important enough to include. What do you want me to do? Robert asked helplessly. I want you to respect my decision. When Michael comes around, and he will, probably when he needs something, I want you to support me in maintaining my boundaries. Can you do that? Robert was quiet for a long moment. Finally, he nodded. Okay. Yes. I support you. And Claire, I'm sorry. I should have told you about the wedding. I should have stood up for you. I failed you, and I'm sorry. Claire softened slightly. I know you were in an impossible position, but Robert, he's your son and I'm your wife. There should never be a question of whose side you're on. You're right. There shouldn't be. The weeks passed. Thanksgiving came and went. Claire and Robert spent it with Angela and her family instead of with Michael, breaking a 15-year tradition. Christmas approached, and for the first time, Claire didn't buy Michael a gift, didn't plan a family dinner, didn't decorate the guest room he'd always stayed in. Robert reported that Michael had noticed. He asked why you haven't called. I told him you were hurt about the wedding. What did he say? He said he didn't think you'd take it so personally, that it wasn't about you. Claire laughed bitterly. Not about me. Being excluded from my son's wedding isn't about me. I told him he needed to talk to you, to apologize. He said he would, but Robert trailed off. But he hasn't. No. Claire wasn't surprised. In her heart, she'd known Michael wouldn't apologize, because apologizing would mean acknowledging he'd done something wrong, and people rarely want to admit that. In January, Claire's phone rang with an unknown number. Against her better judgment, she answered. Claire, it's Diane. Claire's blood ran cold. How did you get this number? Michael gave it to me. Look, I wanted to reach out woman to woman. I know the wedding situation was complicated. Complicated? Claire's voice was ice. You abandoned your son 23 years ago, disappeared from his life completely, and then waltzed back in for his wedding while I, the woman who actually raised him, was excluded. That's not complicated. That's cruel. I understand you're upset. No, you don't understand anything about me. You don't get to call me and play therapist. You don't get to act like we're peers who just had a misunderstanding. You left your child. I raised him. There's no equivalency here. Michael wanted me there, Diane said, and Claire could hear defensiveness creeping into her voice. He sought me out. He wanted to reconnect. I can't help that he wanted his biological mother at his wedding. You're right, Claire said, surprising herself with her calmness. You can't help what Michael wants, but I can help what I accept, and I don't accept being treated as disposable. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to delete this number. You're never going to contact me again, and you're going to live with the knowledge that whatever relationship you rebuild with Michael is built on the foundation of my 15 years of unpaid labor. Claire hung up before Diane could respond. 14 February brought Valentine's Day, and with it an unexpected visitor. Claire was home alone, grading papers. She taught high school English. When the doorbell rang, Michael stood on her porch, holding flowers. Claire's first instinct was to slam the door. Instead, she just stared at him, waiting. Can I come in? He asked quietly. Why? Because I need to talk to you. Please, Claire, just, please. Against her better judgment, again, Claire stepped aside. Michael entered, looking around the house he'd grown up in as if seeing it for the first time in years. He set the flowers on the coffee table and sat on the couch, nervous energy radiating from him. I'm sorry, he said. I'm sorry about the wedding. I'm sorry for not inviting you. I'm sorry for how Lauren spoke to you. I'm sorry for all of it. Claire sat in the armchair across from him, maintaining distance. Why? Why am I sorry? No. Why did you exclude me? I need to understand, Michael. I need to know what I did that made you think I didn't deserve to be there. Michael looked down at his hands. You didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't about you. Everyone keeps saying that, but it was about me. My absence was about me. So explain it to me. Make me understand. Michael took a shaky breath. When Diane reached out last year, it messed with my head. She told me things about why she left, about her depression, her struggle with feeling trapped, her fear that she was a terrible mother. And part of me understood. Part of me wanted to forgive her, to have my biological mom back in my life. Okay, Claire said carefully. But then there was you. You, who'd been there for everything. You, who never left. And having both of you at the wedding felt impossible. Like I was being asked to choose who my real mother was. And Diane, she's my biological mother. I thought that should mean something. I thought I owed it to her to include her in this important moment. So you chose her over me. I didn't think of it as choosing. I thought, Michael's voice cracked. I thought you'd understand. That you'd just, I don't know, be okay with it because you're strong and you've always been understanding. Claire felt something break inside her. Not her heart this time, but her patience. Michael, I need you to hear this. I'm not strong because I'm unbreakable. I'm strong because I've had to be. And being understanding doesn't mean I don't have feelings. It doesn't mean you can hurt me and assume I'll just accept it. I know that now, Michael said, tears streaming down his face. Claire, I was wrong. I was selfish and stupid and I hurt you and I'm sorry. Lauren's been on me about it for weeks. She said what we did was unforgivable, that you'd every right to never speak to me again. Lauren said that? Claire was genuinely surprised. Yes, she's felt terrible. The you missed it thing. She was defensive because she knew what we'd done was wrong and she didn't know how to handle you asking about it. She wants to apologize too. Claire was quiet, processing. Why now? Why are you here now? Michael pulled something from his jacket pocket, a small photo album. Because of this. I was going through old photos, and I found this album you made me when I graduated high school. Every page has a photo and a note from you. Memories of us. Things you wanted me to remember. He opened to a random page. A photo of 8-year-old Michael and Claire baking cookies, both covered in flour. Claire's handwritten note read, You told me that day that I made the best chocolate chip cookies in the world. You made me feel like I was enough. That's all I've ever wanted. To be enough for you. Love, Mom. I read every page, Michael continued, his voice breaking. And I realized that I've had a mother my entire life. She's been right here. She's been you. Diane gave birth to me, but you made me who I am. And I threw that away because I got confused about biology versus reality. Claire felt tears sliding down her own cheeks now. Michael, let me finish, please. I don't deserve your forgiveness, I know that. But I need you to know that excluding you from my wedding is the biggest regret of my life. I hurt the one person who's always shown up for me and I can't take it back. But if you'll let me, I want to spend the rest of my life proving that I understand what I did and that I'll never take you for granted again. They sat in silence, the weight of everything said and unsaid hanging between them. Finally, Claire spoke. I need time, Michael. I need time to figure out if I can trust you again. You didn't just exclude me from a party. You told me my 15 years of mothering you didn't count, that wounds don't heal overnight. I understand. I'll give you all the time you need. But Claire, can I ask you something? What? Do you still love me? Or did I destroy that completely? Claire looked at the young man sitting on her couch, the boy she'd raised who'd broken her heart, who was now trying to find his way back. She thought about all the Mother's Day cards, the school plays, the midnight comfort after nightmares, the pride she'd felt at his accomplishments. I still love you, she said quietly. I don't think I could stop if I tried. But love isn't enough, Michael. Trust matters. Respect matters. Showing up matters. Then I'll show up, Michael said firmly. Every day if I have to. I'll prove to you that you matter, that you're my mom, that nothing, not Diane, not biology, not anything, changes that. Quisanto Raimeru Chapter 3. The Truth. 3 months later, Claire sat across from Lauren at a coffee shop in downtown Portland. The March rain pattered against the windows as they nursed their lattes, the conversation awkward at first. I owe you an apology, Lauren said finally. A real one, not the defensive nonsense I gave you on the phone. Claire waited, saying nothing. The truth is, I knew you should be at the wedding. Michael told me all about you, everything you did for him growing up. I saw the photo albums, heard the stories. I knew you were important. Lauren stirred her latte nervously. But Diane, she got in Michael's head. She told him this story about how she'd missed so much of his life, how this wedding could be her chance to be part of something important. And she implied, not directly, but implied, that having you there would make her uncomfortable, like you'd be showing her up or something. And Michael listened to her. Yes, and I went along with it because I wanted to keep the peace. I was so focused on making Diane happy, on helping Michael reconnect with her, that I didn't stop to think about what it would do to you. Lauren's eyes filled with tears. I'm ashamed of that. You deserved better. Why are you telling me this now? Claire asked. Because you deserve to know the truth. And because, Lauren hesitated. Because Diane showed her true colors. After the wedding, she disappeared again. She'd come back into Michael's life just long enough to be part of this big moment, and then she left. She barely returns his calls now. She's busy whenever he tries to make plans. It's like she got what she wanted. The Instagram photos, the story about being reunited with her son, and now she's moved on. Claire felt a mix of anger and vindication. How's Michael handling that? Not well. He feels stupid, used. He's finally seeing that Diane came back for herself, not for him. And he's realizing that he sacrificed a real relationship, with you, for a fantasy relationship that never existed. Lauren reached across the table, her hand hovering near Claire's. He's been trying to reach you, but you're not responding to his texts. Because I meant what I said. I need time. I know. I'm not asking you to forgive him before you're ready. I just want you to know that he's genuinely devastated. He knows he can't undo what he did, but if there's any chance you can let him back in even a little. Lauren's voice cracked. He needs you, Claire. He needs his real mom. Claire pulled her hand back gently. Lauren, I appreciate you being honest with me, but I can't make decisions based on what Michael needs. For 15 years, I put his needs first. I can't do that anymore. I have to think about what I need. What do you need? Claire considered the question carefully. I need to know that I'm valued, not as a backup plan, not as the person you turn to when the shiny new option doesn't work out. I need to be chosen first. And Michael didn't choose me. He chose Diane, and now that she's disappeared again, he wants me back. That's not the same as being valued. Lauren nodded slowly. That's fair. That's completely fair. I'll tell Michael what you said. He needs to hear it. A week later, Claire found a letter in her mailbox. Michael's handwriting on the envelope. She almost threw it away, but curiosity won out. Dear Claire, I'm not going to ask for forgiveness again. Lauren told me what you said about needing to be chosen first, and you're right. I didn't choose you first. I chose someone who looked like what I thought I wanted instead of recognizing what I already had. I can't change that. I can't undo the wedding or rewrite history, but I can tell you the truth, which is this. Diane is gone again. She came back into my life for a few months, got what she wanted, and left. And I finally understand what you tried to show me my whole life, that being a parent isn't about biology. It's about showing up. You showed up every single day of my life from age 6 onward. You showed up for school plays and soccer games and heartbreaks and triumphs. You showed up when I was difficult, when I was ungrateful, when I took you for granted. You showed up even when my real mother didn't. And then, when it mattered most, I didn't show up for you. I didn't choose you. I didn't honor what you'd given me. I'm not writing this to make you feel sorry for me or to manipulate you into responding. I'm writing this because you deserve to know that I finally understand. I understand what I had, and I understand what I destroyed. If you never want to speak to me again, I'll respect that. If you need years before you're ready to let me back in, I'll wait. But Claire, I want you to know something. You are my mother, not Diane. You, and nothing, not biology, not DNA, not anything, will ever change that. I love you. I'm sorry. And I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be the son you deserved. Michael. Claire folded the letter carefully and set it on her kitchen table. She stared at it for a long time, emotions warring inside her. Part of her wanted to call Michael immediately, to forgive him, to go back to how things were. Part of her wanted to throw the letter away and never look back. But the strongest part of her, the part that had been growing over the past few months, wanted something different. She wanted a relationship built on mutual respect, not obligation. She wanted to be chosen, not settled for. She wanted to matter. She picked up her phone and texted Michael. I got your letter. I'm not ready to talk yet, but I'm not saying never. I need more time. Thank you for being honest. His response came immediately. Take all the time you need. I'll be here. 6 months later, Claire stood in her backyard on a warm September evening, hosting a small dinner party. Angela was there with her family. Robert was grilling salmon. Friends from work laughed over wine. It was peaceful, joyful, exactly what Claire needed. The doorbell rang. Claire wasn't expecting anyone else, but when she opened the door, Michael and Lauren stood there holding a plate of cookies. We know you're having a party, Michael said nervously. We don't want to intrude, but we made these, your chocolate chip cookie recipe, and we wanted to drop them off, as a thank you. A thank you for what? Claire asked. For everything. For raising me. For loving me even when I didn't deserve it. For teaching me what it means to be a good person. Michael's voice was steady but emotional. We're not asking to come in. We're not asking for anything. We just wanted you to know we're thinking about you. Claire looked at the cookies. slightly misshapen, clearly homemade with care. She looked at Michael, who'd grown so much in 6 months, who'd learned to respect boundaries, to give space, to understand that love isn't about grand gestures, but about consistent, genuine effort. "Come in," Claire said, stepping aside. Michael's eyes widened. "Really? Really? But Michael, I need you to understand something. This doesn't mean everything is fixed. We're starting over, from the beginning. No assumptions, no taking each other for granted. If you want to be in my life, you have to earn it." "I will," Michael said firmly. Every day. They walked into the backyard together. Angela saw them and gave Claire a questioning look. Claire nodded slightly and Angela smiled, understanding. Robert approached Michael cautiously, but there was hope in his expression. "Thank you for coming," Robert said to his son. "Thank you for having me," Michael replied. As the evening progressed, Claire watched Michael interact with everyone. He was careful, respectful, genuinely engaged. He listened when people spoke. He asked about Claire's work, her life, her interests. He treated her like someone whose presence mattered. When the guests began leaving, Michael and Lauren prepared to go as well. At the door, Michael turned to Claire. "Would it be okay if I called you sometime? Just to talk. No pressure, no expectations, just a conversation?" Claire considered for a moment, then nodded. "Yes, I'd like that. Can I—" Michael hesitated. "Can I hug you?" Claire felt tears prick her eyes. "Yes." He embraced her carefully, like she was something precious that might break. When they pulled apart, both were crying. "I love you, Mom," Michael whispered. Claire's breath caught. He'd called her Mom. Not Claire, not a generic, "Love you, Mom." "I love you too," she said. 1 year later, Claire sat in a hospital waiting room, Robert beside her, both of them anxious. Lauren was in labor and Michael had actually asked with respect and genuine hope, if Claire would be there when the baby was born. "Are you okay?" Robert asked, squeezing her hand. "Yes," Claire said, and she meant it. "I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." The waiting room door opened and Michael appeared, tears streaming down his face and the biggest smile Claire had ever seen. "It's a girl," he announced. "She's perfect. And Lauren and we'd like you to meet your granddaughter." He looked directly at Claire. "If you'll accept that title. We know we hurt you, and we know we have to earn." "I accept," Claire interrupted, her own tears flowing freely now. "I absolutely accept." Michael led them to the recovery room where Lauren held a tiny bundle wrapped in pink. The baby had Michael's nose and a beautiful mop of dark hair. "Claire," Lauren said softly, "would you like to hold her?" Claire took the baby carefully, cradling her against her chest. The infant yawned, her tiny fist curling against Claire's finger. "She's beautiful," Claire whispered. "We named her Grace," Michael said. "Grace Claire Thompson, after the woman who showed me what grace really means. The woman who forgave me even when I didn't deserve it. The woman who taught me that family isn't about biology. It's about love." Claire looked up at Michael through her tears, seeing not the boy who'd excluded her from his wedding, but the man he'd become, someone who'd made terrible mistakes but had learned from them, someone who understood, finally, what it meant to honor the people who show up for you. "Hi, Grace," Claire whispered to the baby. "I'm your grandmother, and I promise you something right now. I will always show up for you. Always." As Claire held her granddaughter, surrounded by the family she'd fought so hard to keep, she realized something profound. The wedding exclusion had been devastating, but it had also been necessary. It had forced conversations that needed to happen. It had broken old patterns and built new, healthier ones. It had taught everyone involved about respect, boundaries, and the real meaning of family. Michael had chosen Diane at his wedding, but in every day since he'd chosen Claire. And that choice, made repeatedly and genuinely, meant everything. Sometimes the worst moments lead to the most important transformations. Sometimes being excluded teaches people your value. Sometimes walking away is the only way to be truly chosen when you come back. Claire had been invisible at Michael's wedding, but now, holding her granddaughter, she'd never been more seen. And that was worth all the pain it had taken to get here.